There's risk here in taking a breath, in uttering a word. There's risk of death accidentally and on purpose, in an explosion, in a shooting, and while crossing the quietest street. There is risk of falling, prey of falling on concrete and in the slippery teeth of snow, of falling in quicksand, or the heart's equivalent of it, of falling behind a crowd on a journey, on a thought, or a train of them. Of falling for the lack of truth, what some call a lie, then there is the greater risk of truth, of confession on a deathbed, in a church, in a courtroom, and on a prayer rug. There's risk in excess and in absence, in the keys to a mansion, and in the shreds of a tent, in childbirth, and in the dream of it, and when the mundanities of life become insufferable. There is the risk of self. That is to say, place both palms on your chest right this moment and tell me, what does it mean to live, if not to die every second of your life? Hello, I'm Sara Abou Rashed. I graduated from Centennial High School, class of 2017. I'm currently doing my Master's of Fine Arts at the University of Michigan in creative writing, specifically poetry. I'm excited to possibly teach or work in higher ed administration. I really love school and university settings, and I find myself energized around students. My time at Centennial was really interesting, even a little bit strange. I just came from Syria. I'm a Palestinian who lived in Syria, and it was really hard for me to adjust moving to an entire new country. I often talked about the fact that it was a new concept for students to move around the school instead of teachers, or to have lockers. All these little details, of course, the most major of which is language. I didn't speak English when I first came here. Unfortunately, it wasn't one of the schools that had ESL, or English as Second Language, so I wasn't supported in the way most newly arrived people to the United States are supported in schools, but I did find that support in teachers. My first teacher was Mrs. Croft, who left shortly after I came to Centennial. She was an English teacher, my 9th grade English teacher, and she was really sympathetic. She agreed to give me extended deadlines on things. She would sit with me after class to translate or explain things to me in simpler terms than the assignment sheet. I would say a big thank you to Mrs. Croft and later to Miss Lynn Taylor, who took on that role. Both English teachers, both people who helped me with language, who helped me find my voice, who pushed me to write poetry in English. I've always been into writing and poetry. I've started doing that with my grandmother when I was really young. But when I came to this country, I stopped writing in Arabic and tried to focus on learning English. And soon after, I started writing in English. And that's how I realized how powerful writing can be, and that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Something that stuck with me, my experience in Columbus City Schools, is how much of a difference teachers can make in student lives. Words, negative or positive, can change someone's outlook. And that is not to say my entire experience was positive. You know, I had some negative moments that also taught me a lot about the role of teachers, or advocating for students, or understanding students, being open to difference. I would tell teachers and any school staff that they're very brave for doing what they do, that it takes a lot of courage to be in this environment, that we saw how hard the pandemic made education, and I commend them for all that they're doing, and I wish them all strength and wellness and health, and I hope that I can touch student lives the same way some teachers have touched mine. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for next week's Wellness Wednesday video.